You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, General Hospital fans. So we have Drew Cain, Quartermaine, and Willow Tait's affair exposed this week. And by exposed, I mean quite literally. But in a recent interview, actor Cameron Mathison says this may be the beginning of a love story for Drew and Willow after the initial aftershocks from the reveal of their torrid one-night affair. That's all it's been so far, but I have a feeling it's going to be more. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and we're going to talk about what he said and what we have to look forward to now that this scandal breaks wide open as this week on GH closes down. So I knew on Thursday's episode, from the moment that Michael decided to stream the football game from his phone and the word input came up on the TV screen, that sex tape was going to go from his phone onto the Quartermaine's TV. I was trying to figure out, did somebody find it? How are they going to play it? That was the one missing piece. And then when I saw the input thing, it was like, oh, okay, yeah. Sure enough, instead of everybody getting to see the final score of the big game, they got to see Drew scoring with Willow. And it was pretty funny that Ned and Tracy's bickering over the remote and the volume and the mute led to that very naughty nanny cam video getting splashed onto the screen when Tracy pushed that input button. And before that happened, Nina was already mad at Drew, and she had just accused him of using his daughter Scout's grief over Sam to try and get closer to Willow. And of course, Carly was sniffing out there's something weird and awkward going on with Michael and Willow, but nobody will tell her anything. Meanwhile, Michael went and told Sasha he was going to confess his one-night stand to Willow, but said he wouldn't name her and just say it was a random woman. And of course, Michael has no idea when he's saying this to Sasha, he's talking to a woman who's pregnant with his child, and she almost got busted by Carly, leaving her tablet out with those prenatal vitamins on the screen. I thought that was a bit contrived. I always got mine from my doctor. I don't know about you guys, or it was a pharmacy prescription. I never bought them online. It was always the prescription ones, but hey, maybe things have changed. Anyway, let's not forget Tracy and Ned were also just talking about kicking Drew out of the mansion right before the video thing happens. And Michael and Curtis have been conspiring to target Drew right now. And Chase was just talking about how he doesn't want to see Drew anywhere near Willow. He thinks it's sketchy. So in the moments before this video plays, we see that Drew is in a place where he really has no allies in the room to speak of. There was Carly, who was just thanking him for making peace with Jason, but she's about to blow up too. Really only Willow has any kind of positive outlook on him, and she keeps pushing him away, you know. So on the Friday the 13th episode, the nanny cam video plays. Michael freaks out. He's yelling to shut it down. Willow and Drew are both horrified, and then the poop hits the fan in a huge way. Even though Willow was clearly an active participant, you know, most of the blame is going to be heaped onto Drew. Carly's cursing at him, and Nina may join in. Everybody's stunned. All eyes turn on the two of them. What's interesting is that Willow is going to be upset that Michael had the video and never told her. He's been sitting on that for weeks, and because he had it on his phone and was sitting on it, it ended up on the TV for everybody to see. Willow's going to be quite upset, and I'm interested to see if Michael's going to take that or if he's going to push back hard. So that's all the context that you need for what Cameron Mathison said in his recent interview about this Drew and Willow storyline and the reveal and what's next. So Cameron talked to TV Insider about this awkward reveal and said he had no idea when GH had him and Katelyn MacMullen, who plays Willow, you know, started putting them in scenes together, that it was going to go down this road. And the actor said he had no idea how far Drew would go out of love for this woman. Love, L-O-V-E. So he's making it clear this is way more than Willow just being a passing fancy or a booty call. Drew has big feelings for Willow, and I think we've all seen she reciprocates those feelings, but she's been trying to be a good wife, trying to be faithful to Michael, but has obviously failed miserably. Cameron said the fallout from the reveal of their affair is disruptive, but also exciting, and the actor acknowledged that he knows a lot of fans really, really hate this storyline. He is seeing all the online hate about this, and there is a lot of it. And he said that he finds it a little upsetting, but he also said that not only is the Willow and Drew thing dramatic, but he said things like this do happen in real life, which we all know it's true. Everybody knows somebody that's had a very scandalous affair. But what really caught my ear was when Cameron Mathison said, I think it's the making of potentially a really beautiful love story. And that's kind of a big thing to say, that it might turn from this tawdry thing to a love story, with Drew and Willow, especially because we all know Chad Duell has quit the role of Michael on General Hospital. The showrunner said they're not going to recast, at least not right now. So Michael is leaving Port Charles in early 2025, and Chad Duell should be completing his final scenes in the next 4, 6, 8 weeks, probably more like 4 to 6 weeks, most likely. And with Cameron Mathison talking about this beautiful love story, that sounds to me like there's a chance Willow stays behind in Port Charles with Drew and they explore this thing between them, these big feelings. And the big question, of course, is what does that mean for Willow and Michael's 2 kids? That's a significant complication. And of course, Drew's supposed to be in Congress. I don't know if they're going to keep him in Congress to cover some of the time he has to be gone to shoot some of his other projects, or if this is going to blow up and he's going to lose that seat. It was also pretty interesting in this interview that Cameron addressed the big elephant in the room about Drew sleeping with Willow's mom, Nina Reeves. But he clarified something that I think was important to know and wasn't necessarily made clear on the soap. According to the actor, Drew has not slept with Nina since he did the deed with Willow. And I mean, that makes sense because Drew was using Nina as a distraction. And I mean, he'd been with her before, but I definitely think it was a distraction. And let's be real, Nina was also deliberately using herself to distract Drew from Willow. But it's hard to say how Nina's daughter is going to react to finding out Drew slept with them both, even if it didn't overlap, even if he wasn't doing them at the same time. Cameron Mathison said that Drew's definitely not being honest with Willow, but hopefully knowing that Drew didn't have them as overlapping lovers will make it a little better, because it's not great. It's obviously not ideal, and Willow should be upset, and she's going to be upset. He also spoke a little bit about why Drew is kind of the worst version of himself that we've ever seen on General Hospital. He talked about Drew going to prison and sacrificing himself for Carly, when of course, we all know she was the one that engaged in the insider trading, and he sacrificed and went to prison for her. And then he felt betrayed because she was immediately blindly loyal to Jason the moment he stepped back into Port Charles, and that fouled up Drew and Carly's relationship despite the sacrifice he'd made for her. And of course, there's issues with the Quartermaines, who don't really see him as one of them, and Ned was trying to push him out of the family business. And the actor said Drew has just basically had this whole series of disappointments, and he's to some extent an outcast. And after everybody finds out what Drew and Willow did, there's going to be a lot more of him being rejected and an outcast. And he said that Drew is kind of hanging on to Willow as a lifeline. So circling back around to this going from being sort of a crush on Willow's part and maybe some crush/inappropriate lust on Drew's part, and then it pivots and it may be something a lot more, a beautiful love story. Cameron Mathison said sometimes love can make you do crazy things. So while this might be the end for Willow and Michael's marriage, it sounds like it may be the beginning for something big and new between Drew and Willow once everything is out in the open.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.